This week, Conflict Zone is in Vienna, where we caught up with Albania's Prime Minister, Edi Rama, who's anxious to get a move on with the whole process of becoming a full EU member and warning of dire consequences if his European dream isn't realized. But is he just looking to get his hands on Europe's money? Edi Rama, welcome to Conflict Zone.
Thank you.
Thanks very much for being on the program. Albania is a candidate member of the EU. You're hoping for full membership later on. But you're showing a lot of impatience with this, and I'm wondering why. You said you weren't coming to Vienna just for more photo opportunities. We have to see some concrete results. Why this pushing? The EU's doing it the way it normally does it. You have the same criteria as everybody else. Why the pressure?
No, it's not about avoiding to fulfill the criteria. It's about a very simple difference between our homework, the criteria to be met, and the Berlin process, which is a process of regional cooperation. So if we talk about regional cooperation, regional infrastructure, regional markets, of course we need to have a common strategy. And not only among ourselves, but also with Europe.
Yeah, but it's up to you as much as it's for Europe. I mean, why are you pressing so hard? Why don't you just wait your turn?
Because I have to tell you very frankly that if in Europe there are people talking about enlargement fatigue, in the Balkans,
Chancellor Merkel is not talking about enlargement fatigue, is she?
No, if in Europe there are people, I'm saying, in the Balkans there are more and more people having a certain patience fatigue. So we need to move fast and to move forward, because I'm absolutely convinced that Europe needs the Balkans today as much as the Balkans need Europe.
Well, I want to ask you about that in a minute, but May 29th had you standing next to Alexander Vučić, the Serbian Prime Minister, who was saying, we're fed up with seminars, we need some money from the EU, and then you'll see smiles on our faces. You didn't disagree with him. As if Europe has nothing else to do than just sit there and give you money to put smiles on your faces.
This is too reductive as a statement from your side, because first of all, we are talking about a common strategy. Because, again, I want to say that the Balkans are Europe. And if the Balkans today are the only success story of peace and cooperation in our world, there is a reason. And the reason is because all of us, we want to be part of Europe. And if the peace among Serbs and Albanians happened, and if for the first time I visited Belgrade after 68 years as an Albanian Prime Minister, and Vučić came to Tirana as the first Prime Minister from Serbia ever, this shows something. Of course, shows our will, but shows first and foremost the aspiration of our people.
Okay, but Europe has shown plenty of goodwill to you. I mean, look at the money that you've been offered. You've had funding allocations of 649.4 million euros for 2014 to 2020. The European Bank for Reconstruction and Development has 69 projects in Albania at the moment, 917 million euros of investment. And you're pushing at the door and saying, this isn't enough, we want more.
The numbers are always a point of dispute from my experience.
But these are the published numbers. And in any case, Germany has given you another 106 million this summer.
I know.
For the electricity sector.
But again, I'm saying to you, numbers may mislead. And again, we are not talking about money for our national interests or for our national budget. We are talking about much more money for our regional infrastructure, for our regional projects, because no one of our countries can afford to pay these regional projects with its own money. You should know that we are we don't have any more fiscal space. We can't give sovereign guarantees. So we need to work together in that. So, and let me give you an example.
But these figures are working together. This is the investment that you need to carry out the reforms that Europe has asked you to do, to become members of the EU.
And we are carrying out the reforms that Europe has asked us to do with a lot of will, with a lot of speed. It will take time. And again, we are not trying to replace the homework and the integration process of every country by this, but we are saying that the regional cooperation process has to work, and to make it work, need to be financed.
And hanging over all this is the threat you made in May. You told the Turkish Hurriyet newspaper, as long as our European dream is vivid, the Balkans will have no trouble. But if this dream fades away, trouble will come. In other words, give us what we want or we'll cause trouble.
It's not like this.
It's a threat, isn't it?
It's not a threat.
Sounded pretty much like it.
Sounded wrong. It's not a threat. It's a very simple truth. Because in the Balkans, we came out of a long history of bloodshed, wars, conflicts, and so on. So the ghosts of the past are around. Or our generation will make it in the right way, and we will all unify with Europe, and it will be over, or the ghosts of the past will take over.
So it's up to Europe now to referee your squabbles for you, and your feuds and your ancient hatreds. You're laying it all at Europe's door now.
It sounds very much like a Tory statement, but I'm not at all saying that. I'm repeating, Europe should be strategic about the Balkans. It's not business as usual. Is an area that you know very well has been a big problem for the people living in the area and for the continent for centuries. Now it's an area that is in a fantastic new moment of peace and cooperation. But this peace is too big for our shoulders.
Well, let me ask you about this.
This needs to be fed with a common effort, and of course,
okay, I understand the common effort, but let's talk about this fantastic moment for a moment, because you said in April, you repeated a threat to unify with Kosovo.
These are not threats.
With or without the EU.
These are not threats.
All right, you said you would unify with Kosovo, with or without the EU.
No, it's not accurate. I said we want to unify with Europe and be together in the European Union. And Europe should be strategic about this. Otherwise, forces of the past can make it in a different way.
Well, what you actually said, April the 6th, and this was an interview with Clan Kosova,
yes,
the radio station.
Yes.
The question is how it will happen, this unification, in the context of the EU as a natural process understood by all, or will it happen as a reaction to EU blindness or laziness?
Sure.
So you're already accusing the EU of blindness and laziness here.
I'm not accusing. I'm simply stating the obvious.
The EU didn't like that statement very much, accused you of provocations, unacceptable provocations. The Serbs didn't like it either, did
That's
they?
why we want to be in the EU. We don't need necessarily to like everything everyone says, otherwise...
But you knew you were stirring it up by saying this.
Otherwise, we had communism where we were supposed to like everything was said and to not contest anything. So it's a free space.
You were stirring it up intentionally, weren't you? You knew exactly which buttons to press with the Serbs, didn't you?
No,
all you had to do was mention unification with your smile says it all. All you had to do was talk about unification with Kosovo, and they would accuse you of banging the drums of war, which is exactly what they did. You knew that.
And they were wrong, because I didn't bang any drum.
Trouble.
I was simply saying the obvious. We have not got rid of the ghosts of the past, and whoever think that Balkans now is once and forever in peace and this is for granted is wrong. So we
my point is you like to stir up these ghosts when you feel it's going to put pressure on Europe to give you what you want.
I want to make always sure that you don't forget that the ghosts are around, and we should work together to make sure that they'll not come in the scene again. Because if they come in the scene, there are troubles not only for us, but also for you.
Okay, so spell out, what are these troubles then? Are you talking about going back to war?
No, I'm talking about
what are these troubles if you don't get your European dream?
I'm talking about all the terrible things that nationalisms and hatred bring with it, and we know it very well.
Well, let's spell it out. What?
What has happened in the past? What has happened in the past?
I asked you whether it was war. You said no.
No, I'm saying
war has come in the past.
All the worst can happen, and this is why we have to boost this peace process of cooperation and of interaction, and we cannot do it alone. We need to do it with Europe, because it's a European process. It's not just every nation process.
Okay, so breaking your argument down to its component parts, if we don't get what we want, we don't get our European dream, we're going to war.
No, it's not.
That's exactly what you're saying.
No. I'm saying that if Europe will not realize that cannot treat the Balkans as business as usual, we risk to be overcome again by the ghosts of the past.
Okay, say you get your EU membership, full EU membership. The other candidate members...
It will take time.
And the other candidate members get it. And there you are, you're sitting in Brussels, and you suddenly think to yourself, okay, well, these other members of the Balkans, they're getting more out of this than we are. So you start the feud within Europe again.
Come on,
you start quarreling within Europe. You're going to bring the whole project crashing down.
You can do better than that.
Can you do better than that? Can you do better than that? This is the question.
We are not supposed now to speculate what will happen when we sit in the European Union together with our neighbors. We are supposed today to do everything we can to work with our neighbors and to make possible that the dreams of our young generation and of our youth become true. Finally, we need to have the Balkans as part of the European Union. And we are working for that, and we are seeing the benefits of working for that.
But as far as Europe is concerned, what you're doing is just handing the job of refereeing between you and other Balkan states to Brussels. And why should Brussels be burdened with that?
I don't think first that Europe is thinking that. There are people in Europe thinking that first. Second, what is Brussels for?
Well, it's not to manage your disputes.
We are not. We have already managed our disputes. We don't have disputes. We are now together in the same line with the same voice, saying, now we
all those hatreds have gone,
ready to do it.
All those hatreds, all those ghosts have gone away. One moment you say they've all gone away, and next they're just waiting to wake up again.
The ghosts are not gone away. The ghosts are not in the scene today, because the scene, thanks to all this will, is occupied now by the people that have made peace and want to cooperate together.
The EU has asked you for progress on many different fronts, reforms, areas still causing major concern as far as the last progress report is concerned from the EU Commission. Organised crime. Albania still lacks a comprehensive overall strategic approach to organised crime. Why on earth do you lack an approach to that, a strategic approach, after all this time?
This is December.
This is October last year.
This is October last year, true. And in the same time, we should not forget that exactly because we fought hardly against organised crime and with facts, we got the candidate status. But it's I'm very happy
in the hope that you would.
I'm very happy to inform you that from January to now this year, we have the lowest criminal crime rate in the country since 25 years. So
that's not saying much, is it? That's not saying a lot, is it?
It's saying a lot.
Because your crime has been huge and remains huge relative to other states.
I'm not sure.
No?
I'm not sure. Numbers are not saying that. You like numbers.
I'll come to numbers in a minute. On the rights of women, the number of reported serious offences, cases of domestic violence against women increased, according to the report last year. Why?
Yes, we have a problem with domestic violence, and we are tackling it. And I'm very happy to tell you that in the last local election, we made sure something that make us one of the champions in fighting for women's rights and for women representation in Europe, 50% of every city council in Albania today are women. And this is a big achievement. Of course,
why the violence?
Of
why
course,
the increased violence
still a lot
against
to
women?
do. We have to fight against it. It's something that has not been born in the last years. It's something that has to do with a very patriarchal and also with a very, very painful past. And we are fighting against it and we are improving.
Okay, deep reform of the judiciary is urgently needed, says the EU.
In autumn, we will pass this reform thanks to a very, very thorough work we have done together with European missions, with Venice Commission, with the American mission of experts. So the reform will be very radical and will be the right base to start and change it, because I fully agree with you that we have really a big fight in this field, and judiciary is our open issue. And I have always told my fellow citizens, if we will not be able to have a judiciary that will dignify our country, we'll never be able to be part of the European Union.
And you've still got a long way to go for that.
Absolutely.
On crime, Albania is a source and destination country for men, women and children subjected to sex trafficking and forced labor.
On this area, we have made a big improvement because we have been out of the blacklist, and now, of course, there is still a lot to do, but we have made a big jump.
What do you mean you're out of the blacklist?
Because before we were a country that was a country of origin, and a country that was among the countries that were really in a kind of blacklist.
Europol report 2013 spoke of the danger of weapons trafficking through your region. Organized crime groups, including Albanians, dominate the trafficking in heroin.
2013 is a geological era ago, frankly, because the changes are too fast.
Oh, and your crime groups have all taken up sheep farming since then, have they?
No, because we have eradicated, and with a big praise for our European fellows, this safe haven of shame in Lazarat, where these big plantations were. And
you're talking about cannabis?
About cannabis, and so we have eradicated it.
Okay, so how many mafia leaders have you taken off the streets? How many mafia leaders?
Mafia leaders?
Yeah. How many have you jailed?
We don't have mafia leaders in Albania. The mafia leaders are in Europe.
Oh, really? So you have no organized crime?
We have.
So when the State Department in Europe says Albania is a source and destination country for trafficking, you don't have any criminals anymore?
No. You talked about mafia leaders. The mafia leaders are on the other side of Adriatic. We have organized crime, which is connected. And let's not talk anymore about a national mafia. There is no national mafia. There is no organized crime person you catch that does not have 3, 4, 5 different codes in the mobile phone. So it's interconnected.
How many judges have you fired? One, as far as I can see.
God forbid, if the government would fire judges, we would be in trouble. It's not the government that fires judges. And that's why we're making a reform.
But you know you have corrupt judges?
We don't have corrupt judges. We have a totally corrupt judiciary, which works like a corporation and which works like a for-profit industry. And we are breaking it down, starting from this reform that will pass in fall.
Let me ask you about some of the allegations that have come your way. On August the 12th, the opposition leader, Luzim Basha, accused you of publicly dealing with organized crime. He said your government is deeply connected to crime. You're not saying anything about these accusations.
We live in a civilization that since long time has a principle. It's up to the accuser to prove the accusation and not to the accused to prove that he is not guilty. If I would be answering all the time to the allegations, I would not have time to do anything else, even to eat.
So why did the Supreme Court order the prosecutor to investigate you over allegations that you gave illegal building permits to companies when you were mayor of Tirana?
This is not true. This is procedure.
What do you mean it's procedure?
It's procedural, but it's not true. In the sense that it's a procedure that is has to be respected, and that's it.
If it's not true, why? And you have all these accusations. Why don't you sue the people who are making these accusations against you? If you
I did it.
Are innocent.
I did it. I did it.
Lulzim Basha, 12th of August, his latest accusations. Why don't you sue him
It's
for
not
those?
12. If I would sue for every accusation, I would stay in front of the Supreme Court every morning. But I have tried also the way of suing, and just to give an example to people, and I won it for good. They were not able to prove anything of what they said, and at the end, they said something fantastic. Politics is not to give proofs, is to make happen sound opinions. So these are sound opinions. I don't care.
You formed a coalition with a man called Ilia Meta, about whom you said 2 years before, in 2011, he exemplified all that was rotten about Albania.
Yes,
yeah,
I said it.
You said it. Mm-hmm. And you were so keen, so desperate for power, that you would get into bed politically with a man who you clearly despised. Why?
It's not, I strongly believe that it's not about men, it's not about people, it's about systems. So,
well, you didn't attack the system,
so
you attacked the man. You attacked the man.
Wait a minute, it's not about men, it's not about people, it's about systems. And I was not desperate for power, I was desperate to see Albania move forward and to do everything I can to make it happen. And I'm making it happen together with the others, and I'm very happy to see it. So
you haven't changed your mind about how rotten he is, this man?
Again, it's not about man. And
well, you said it about him. So you made it about him.
I said it. It was.
And you made it about him. 2011, you said it.
It was 2011. Okay, yeah. I said it.
Yeah.
So now I'm saying to you that we have a coalition that is very well functioning, and we are doing a great job together.
How many rotten people do you have these days in your governing coalition?
We don't have rotten people in our governing coalition.
Except for the person that you called rotten in 2011.
I did, again, and I repeat, I'm not denying it, but there is something very simple about politics. It functions through elections, it functions through numbers, and it functions through programs and common agenda. So as far as all this is in place, things can move forward.
And buying of votes still happens in your elections? Transparency International said in 2013, all parties bought votes, especially in Albania's villages and suburbs. No? Voters paid 35 euros for a vote?
If I would say to you that there is no any vote bought in Albania, I would lie. But in the same time, I can say you very truthfully that all these numbers and all this generational way of talking is very harmful, is not respecting the truth.
Yeah, but it still happens. The American ambassador said that before the local elections, there were people standing who had criminal records. You're fine with that?
There were people with criminal records that were out of the race. And there were people that wrongly were considered criminals without having had any kind of process that have made them declare criminals. So we live in a society and we live in a system where there are separated powers and where no one has the right to say that he is criminal or she is criminal. It's only the prosecution and the judiciary that can say that.
Edi Rama, given all the problems that we've discussed, given all the issues, the urgent need to reform various sectors, I understand what's in it for you to join Europe. What's in it for Europe to have you? With all your problems, with all your ghosts.
Come
that
on,
may wake up any moment.
It doesn't work that way. Europe will have only benefits to get the Balkans in.
Give me one. Give me one.
I give you one, because the Balkans are not somewhere, are in the middle of Europe. And so Europe has no logic to leave this area in the heart of it out of its own way of functioning and of being organized. Because then, if what today is a dream will be replaced by a nightmare, it will be a European nightmare. It will not be a simply an Albanian or a Serb or a Balkan nightmare.
Edi Rama, thanks for being on Conflict Zone.
Thank you very much. It was an honor.